everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. Clashes, chaos and deaths. They've marred the Panchayat polls in the state of Bengal. Fresh violence has even been reported from some parts, even after polling. During the counting of ballots in Bhangor, clashes broke out, resulting in at least 3 fatalities and an injured police officer. In fact, police has reported that members of the ISF hurled bombs at the counting centre, leading to the police resorting to baton charges. The unending bloodshed in Bengal around elections has become a test case now. It is no longer sufficient in today's day and age to say that this is just the culture of violence in the state. And mind you, even the numbers are not coming down. BJP has alleged a complete breakdown of law and order in the state. Even the Congress and the left have criticized Mamata Banerjee and her government, claiming that violence has become the new normal in the state. Furthermore, both the Congress and the BJP have approached the Calcutta High Court, accusing the State Election Commission of non-compliance with its orders to deploy paramilitary forces at polling booths and counting stations. This High Court is seized of the matter, and we'll bring you more on that in just a bit. But the big question is, given the state of affairs, will accountability be set? And does the buck stop with the state election chief? We'll take that question to our guests in just a bit. So first up, Calcutta High Court has come down heavily on the Bengal poll panel chief Rajiv Sinha. It has gone on to say today the SEC had to work in tandem with central forces. If centre's report on the SEC is to be believed, then it shows a sorry state of affairs. Every day, new allegations are being made against the State Election Commission. Non-cooperation allegation is very disturbing. If the report is true, then highly unbecoming of the commissioner, which is Rajiv Sinha. It also went on to say, we think prima facie the deployment plan is not proper, and now they have said that the centre's coordinator will decide on the forces deployment for the next 10 days in the state. This is what the centre's report had said on Bengal SEC. No travelling and boarding facilities were provided to the central forces. Personnel was forced to travel 400 kilometers on and off. Support and response of the State Election Commission was found wanting. And most importantly, and possibly the most damning charge was that the State Election Commission did not provide them with sensitive booths info, which was exactly what they were there for. Parties are saying, the opposition is saying that this has rendered the whole point of the central forces defeated, which was also court mandated, by the way. A face-off has been continuing in the state between the opposition and the ruling TMC over alleged poll rigging as well. Remember, the visuals are extremely damning. Now, the BJP has teared into the TMC government, alleging that Panchayat polls are just a sham and poll rigging took place in around 6,000 booths. Congress too has targeted the Bengal government, saying the Panchayat polls have been reduced to a farce. Left has also hit out at the TMC, accusing it of, quote, murdering democracy in the state. What is the TMC's response? Well, Mamata Banerjee, the TMC chief and chief minister herself, spoke to the media today. She said that poll rigging charges are being spread by the BJP, which only spreads lies, and the opposition criticism benefited the TMC in this case. Because, of course, as far as the numbers are concerned, the TMC continues to be the numero uno party in the state of West Bengal. But the issue is not about who has won the Panchayat polls. It is about how they have been conducted. In 2023, is it acceptable for any state to have so much fear, death and absolute chaos when an election is going on? And this is routine in West Bengal. Why aren't they able to curb it? So that big question on the State Election Commission coming up, will accountability be set?
मुझे बताया गया कल काउंटिंग में भी हत्या हुई है, काउंटिंग में भी पीटा गया है. ममता जी, you have shamed the democracy in Bengal.
It is nothing but a state, West Bengal state government sponsored violence.
Agency একটা জিনিস আপনারা লক্ষ্য করুন, আমরা কি অপরাধ করেছি? আমি অপরাধ করলে আমায় শাস্তি দিন, আমার কোনো যায় আসে না। আমি মামাটি মানুষের শাস্তি মেনে নিতে রাজি আছি। আমার যদি সত্যিই কোনো অপরাধ থাকে, যে অপরাধ মানুষ আমাকে দেবে আমি মাথা থেকে নেব।
Let's go across to our guest joining us, Shehzad Poonawala of the BJP with us in our studios. Rohan Mitra is from the Congress party. I'm also joined by Biswajit Dev, who's spokesperson of the TMC and lawyer himself. Mohammad Amin is former Joint Director, Election Commission of India, and I do thank all of you for your time. Let me begin with Shehzad first. Mamata Banerjee and the TMC continue to maintain that, if they were responsible for so much violence, why is it that the public continues to vote for them? And of course, that is the case even in these recent Panchayat polls.
If they see a victory of the TMC in what is a defeat of democracy, then I only can pity that this is the state of West Bengal today, which has transmutated from Mamati Manush to bomb, blast and booth capturing. Over 40 people have lost their lives. What is the TMC celebrating about? Over 20 to 30,000 booths have been captured. The fact of the matter is that even today the Calcutta High Court has castigated the State Election Commission for not following orders. The fact of the matter is that every election cycle from 2011 onwards has been marred by this violence, which is state sponsored, state incited, state protected, state patronized and institutionalized. The fact of the matter is today that people of West Bengal are asking that why is the situation reduced to this, and if it is just the BJP, it could be made, that allegation could be made. The fact is that the Congress party, whom they are friends with, Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, themselves have gone to court and have made serious allegations. But what is very worrying is that no franchisee of Mohabbat Ki Dukaan has opened up in West Bengal today.
Okay.
Despite these challenging circumstances, Shivani India, the fact is that the BJP has doubled its tally. But had this violence not marred the entire process, the BJP would have won these elections hands down. It is only through violence that the TMC can continue to even stay in
So
power.
you're saying that had it not been so much violence and fear atmosphere, you would have done much better. Whether you would have won or not, of course, your party will suggest it will. That's a separate issue. But before I go to Biswajit Devji as well, let me go to Rohan Mitra as well. The other argument that the TMC makes is that we are the ruling government, we are the ruling party. Why will we indulge in violence? Because it brings questions on us only, that this is all being done by the opposition.
Good evening, Shivani. The fact of the matter is, when the Trinamool says such things, before the elections, they said the Congress and the left were a big zero. We have nobody to support. There's no ground support for us. There's no vote for us. Partly true, because in 2021, we got a zero. So for them to accuse us of doing violence, let me just get to the facts first. In Murshidabad, where the Congress has done well, in Malda, where the Congress has done well, the people who have died in the Trinamool, they have died within the internal clashes of the Trinamool. The Trinamool district president versus the Trinamool MLAs, there have been inside battles which have been going on, because if you remember, the Trinamool only gave their nominations on the last day. The Trinamool was so scared to give their candidate list out because they knew what kind of clashes would happen.
Okay, fair enough, but come to my question.
They waited till the last day.
Rohan, come to my question. The ruling government or party, why will they indulge in violence? This is the TMC's argument, because ultimately it brings questions on them. And TMC is so comfortable in the state of West Bengal that they don't need to indulge in this. This is their argument.
No, their argument, they can argue a lot of things. Today, the CM has told the police, please go out and capture each and every person who's responsible for the violence. The state election, if the CM did not issue this, the only reason CM had to say this was because the police, under the State Election Commissioner, was protecting the Trinamool hoodlums, the people who are responsible for the violence, the Arabul Islams, the other characters who have been openly threatening people on your cameras, on various cameras. The police had to take step right now after the CM has said, please go out and take the people who have been responsible for the violence under your captivity.
Okay, so you're saying
that, there was no activity. The State Election Commission has been mum. The High Court has picked up on the State Election Commission. Each and every point has been picked up on. And if you see, the BJP is saying a lot of things, but the BJP has failed. The central government has failed to provide the CRPF, which the High Court had ordered on the 18th of June. Since 18th of June,
but that's
today,
exactly the matter that is going on in the court, where they're saying that the SEC did not give them the information they needed.
the SEC did not give them the information they needed, but they kept quiet on this. Why on the 3rd of
I
July?
think Shehzad wants
when
to
the
comment
order
on
came
this
out
very
on the
quickly
18th
before
of
I go to
June.
our other guests as well on this issue, because this is an argument that the TMC has also made.
Let me clarify. Today's court's hearing, what the court has said. The responsibility to ensure that there is no breach of peace lies with the state government. It is the state government which is not in a position to safeguard its citizens. It's a serious matter. And by the way, nobody should be celebrating, because the court has also said that the elections and the declaration of the results will be subject to the ultimate orders of this court in this writ petition, where 50,000 booths being booth captured is being heard. By the way, the DIG BSF is on record. Our troops, 822 companies, reached much before in time, but they were not given the information about the sensitive booths, in the sense where are those sensitive booths, because of which the deployment could not take place. Where the deployment did take place, there was no violence. So it is for the TMC government to answer. Please, Mr. Rohan, I did not interrupt you.
No,
I understand your need.
I'm waiting for you to finish.
Mr. Rohan, I did not interrupt you.
Okay, continue. Let's not make personal comments. Continue.
I understand the Congress's need to play the B team of the TMC before the Bengaluru meeting. Today, instead of seeing the vote count, we are seeing the body count. The TMC is celebrating an election which has been marred to such an extent that today we are seeing how many people have died rather than how many votes were cast. That was the entire cycle was marred by this kind of violence and Loktantra ki loot, booth capturing. This is the nara of the elections that has come out from Rabindranath Tagore's
all right.
land.
Let me bring in Mr. Deb as well. Mr. Deb, you could win elections, but that does not justify the amount of violence that has taken place in the state. Why is the Chief Minister reacting today? And why is it that there are so many questions emerging on the State Election Commissioner? Certainly, as far as these local polls are concerned, the responsibility lies at his doorstep. Why is it that the TMC does not ensure that under their rule, this kind of violence does not happen?
Well, you see, the Chief Minister has addressed a press conference today explaining the entire thing and explaining how the opposition was responsible for this violence. Now, I would like to say, first of all, that we really thank the people of Bengal for having participated in this Panchayat election. But the other part of the entire story is this, that it is very unfortunate that the combined opposition led by BJP, that is BJP, CPIM, Congress and ISF, have tried to spread violence in some parts of Bengal. You see, out of the 60,000 booths, there were only 60 to 70 booths where there was violence. And this was provoked and perpetrated by BJP, CPIM, Congress.
But sir, the opposition is not in control of the state machinery. Sir, the opposition is not in control of the state machinery. I can argue that in this case the SEC is. The SEC was also given additional forces by the centre. Why were they not properly used?
Please let me finish. The central force had been deployed under the orders of the High Court. And the central forces, unfortunately, did not act as per the requirement of the situation. The opposition parties were allowed to create nuisance. The hooligans were allowed to carry on with rampage in some pockets. I would like to say 60 to 70 booths. And the projection was given that the entire state is burning. That was a projection given by the media.
But sir, you look at the number of deaths. Okay, the entire state may not be burning. Of course, that cannot be the truth. But the amount of violence, the kind of violence, the fact that so many people have died. So the violence may be concentrated in some areas. That makes the job of the SEC and the state forces even easier. If it was concentrated in some places, look at the amount of damage that has been done to both life and limb.
Please let me finish.
Yes.
We condemn any type of violence whatsoever. We do not believe in violence. Trinamool Congress does not believe in violence, and any death, whichever party the person belongs to, is condemnable. We condemn that. But the problem is, this unfortunate situation arose out of the irresponsible activities of the opposition parties together. And I would like to say that this is most unfortunate that the opposition parties realized that people of Bengal are not supporting them when they realize that they don't have base, when they don't have any
organization.
That's
not true actually. If you go by the results, I'm sorry to say this, if you go by the results, you cannot argue that the BJP support base is not increasing. They have done better than before. You could make that argument that the opposition has been rejected if their numbers had dropped. But that's not the case.
And
No, no.
and
But
the
sir,
other way
that's
to
not
argue
the
this.
argument here.
No, no, no.
The
The other way
elections,
to argue is this.
the elections
When
can
you are
be
saying
won
this,
by anybody.
other way to
All
argue-
that
the
people
other
are
way-
saying is that they need to be free and fair. So one second, let me bring in Mohammed Amin, former Joint
Please let me
Director of
finish.
Election Commission
No,
of
no,
India.
you are-
Sir, I'll come
you
back
are
to you.
going on one-sided.
Sir, I'll
Let
come
me
back to you.
finish.
No, I'll come back to you.
Let me
I'll come back to
finish.
you.
Let me
Mohammed Amin,
You first
in
let me
this
finish.
situation, as far as Panchayat polls are concerned, it is only in the state of West Bengal. In today's day and age, I know there's a history, but in today's day and age, it's only in West Bengal we see this kind of violence out of any state in India, large or small. In this case, do you think the responsibility does lie with the State Election Commission and nobody else?
You can remember the assembly elections. At that time, Mamata Banerjee was blaming to the Central Election Commission. They are working under the Prime Minister and Home Minister directions. Now you can see everything is done by the state government, and our State Election Commissioner has responsible for this, as he has already requested for the security forces for the arrangements. So the High Court has already given the direction to provide the center to the security supports. And 22 battalions were there, and I've seen the TV interview of the DIG of BSF. Actually, in the meeting, always in the meetings we have the security staffs and the administration and others. So in that meeting, our CEO, I don't name is Sinha. He is the West Bengal CEO, and State Election Commissioner. He has not given any list properly and sensitive booth of list. We are giving at the time of the assembly election in the parliament in advance to the security staff so that they were vigilant and they have the proper arrangement for these type of the happenings. And at that time assembly, there was one shot by our paramilitary forces. He was attacking at that time from Bengal side, Bengal civilians.
Right.
So, and at that time there were a lot of hue and cry about the election commission. Now you can see, and we can condemn this. 48 lives are there, means there 48 deaths has happened. It's very sad for the state of Bengal, and I'm always seen this always booths are looted and the polling stations are disturbed, and they are bombarding, and they have pistol and they have knives and everything attacked by our polling staff and polling parties. So it is not good for the Bengal. Maybe they have the election, won the election, but this is not the good election happened in the state of Bengal. And you see, last time you have seen the UP, there was the hue and cry, but they have the good control about that. So now this responsibility is by the state government, chief secretary, home secretary, and their CEO of the election,
State Election Commission,
conducting the election.
So can I just understand from you
in advance for the security arrangements?
Right.
Yes.
In fact, even the security arrangements of the central forces were actually, if I can use the term, forced down the throat of
He
the
has not
State
given
Election.
any independent.
Yeah, State Election Commission,
Yeah,
because
they
they
are
were
not given any
opposing the
role for
fact
that.
that central forces are being asked for by the High Court, and then that decision was ratified by the Supreme Court as well.
Shalini, I am going to tell you, Shalini, I am going to mention one more. Actually, these officers are local officers, are always their ruling party support, and the CEO is also means Chief Election Commissioner of the state is also supporting to the government. That's why you see that this type of attitude happen, and this is not fair from the election point of view.
Right.
All the in assembly and the parliament, we are always reviewing the local officers there, and we have our central forces, and we have our central observers.
Okay.
And we
So
have
you're
the
making
central,
a very grave charge.
Election officers.
Sir, you're making a very grave charge that clearly the SEC is acting at the behest of the state government. That's exactly what the opposition is saying. Let me take that to Mr. Deb once again. Mr. Deb, here's a former election commission official who's saying that this is clearly the responsibility of the State Election Commission. You did not cooperate with the central forces, and you are acting that he is acting at the behest of the state government. Now, how do you respond to that? This is not coming from the opposition.
Problem is, there are some people who act on behalf of BJP, at the behest of BJP and at the behest of opposition. I don't want to reply to them. But the question is, these allegations, these false and malicious allegations have been leveled against All India Trinamool Congress on a regular basis. But it is ultimately proved that the people of Bengal are with All India Trinamool Congress, people of Bengal are with Mamata Banerjee, people of Bengal are with Abhishek Banerjee. And BJP's slogan, no vote to Mamata, has been turned up, and now it is Abhishek Banerjee's slogan.
Okay.
Now vote for Mamata.
Okay,
And
so
that
once
is
again, can I
exactly
just come in
what
here?
the people of Bengal did. And regarding violence, I'm again repeating that this violence has been provoked and instigated by the opposition, combined opposition led by BJP.
All right. Can I just come in here? Mr. Deb, please, I request your patience because we've got three other members on the panel as well.
This is to malign the party. This is to malign the state government. This is to malign the SEC.
Okay, okay, Mr. Deb, please yield. I don't want to speak over you, but you know, Mr. Amin is a senior former joint director of the Election Commission of India. Shehzad, I'll come to you. I'm not sure if it is fair on your part to deem him an opposition voice. He's a professional in his regard. If you're going to turn anybody who speaks against you or questions you as some sort of a opposition voice, I don't think that's fair and a fair system. Also, I'm not sure what is the Sir, one second. Sir, I'll allow you, please. Also, the results in these elections are exactly what are under question and doubt. You cannot claim, you know, this high moral ground on the basis of the results when there are visuals coming in of people rigging polling booths. So that's the question here. But let Mr. Amin respond to you once again. Sir, Mr. Deb, I'll come back to you. Mr. Deb, I'll come back to you. Please, I request you. Mr. Deb,
that 63,000 booths cannot be rigged.
Of course
Is it
not.
possible?
Even if it is 10% of that, sir, it's a question which is what the BJP is. Sir, but I'll give you the time. Sir, please. Let others come in. Let Mr. Amin come in. Let our other opposition panelists also come in. Mr. Amin, I'll give you a minute if you want to respond to that.
Yeah. Shivani, you can remember at the time of the assembly election, Madam Mamata Banerjee was blaming to Election Commission and they were telling lots of charges against when she lost the election. After that by-election she win, and then before that 2 times she was the chief minister. So what is that? These are the officials, they were the security persons, and we were doing that job fairly. At that time everything was fair. When she is losing, then she and TMC is blaming to I am a spokesman of the BJP. How they can say?
No, that's not fair. That's not right.
A red herring. We should stick to the facts of the debate and not allow this to
48 lives are there. 48 deaths is there. And at the time of the assembly election, only one was shot by the second forces.
Okay.
And
yes.
he was
Fair enough.
to the,
Can I just, yes, I'll come. Yes, Shehzad, please
because
go
we
ahead.
run out of time and I won't be able to, as a leading opposition party, articulate a lot of things that I need to still in this debate.
Yeah, please go ahead, Shehzad.
People of Bengal.
I think
Mr. Deb, not like
I
this.
need
Please lower his volume.
indulgence of
Yes,
everybody
Mr.
on the
Shehzad.
panel.
Yeah, go
First of all, let's forget Mr. Amin. The High Court today has said it is not clear why the Commission is not proactive, especially when the court has been monitoring the entire process and the first judgment was delivered on June 13. Is the court playing with the BJP? He said that all opposition parties are responsible for this mischief. Can Mr. Deb, who is the official spokesperson, show one FIR where the opposition parties have been named for the mischief or the violence? Or please tell me, in 2013 or in the 34 years of left rule, was the opposition creating this violence when used to allege the violence? Or please tell me, if the opposition is indeed responsible, the Congress, the left also, why are you going to Bengaluru? What is the answer to that? They are maligning Bengal, obviously. Finally, let me ask him specific questions. How many CCTVs were there in the booths? You were supposed to put it in every booth. How many CRPF or the central forces were given the information of sensitive booths? Give us the number. Why were civil volunteers deployed when they were strictly said no? 50-50 proportion of state forces and central forces was told by the High Court. In how many booths did you actually manage to do that? Because the law and order, as opposed to a Vidhan Sabha election, was with you. Right. It was not with the Central Election Commission or with the State Election Commission. It was with Mamata Banerjee. So please tell us the specific answers to this.
You are talking so much about Bengal. You are bent upon to insult Bengal. You are bent upon
Sir,
to
45 Bengalis have died. I think there's no bigger insult than that.
Tripura? What did you did in Tripura? 90% seats went uncontested. Abhishek Banerjee's convoy was attacked. All opposition parties.
Is that
were
your
attacked.
answer right now?
Where was your central team?
So is
Where
that
was
the
your
answer,
central
Mr.
team?
Deb?
Where was your central
Mr.
force?
Deb, is that the answer?
Whatever is happening in your rule states, in Uttar Pradesh, in Madhya Pradesh, in Tripura, then there is no central
Sir,
force.
I think with due respect, I don't think the situation that has transpired in Bengal over the last 40 years or what has happened even in these Panchayat elections can be compared to any other state. Your point about Tripura, well taken. Yes, Rohan, final comments from you.
You know, the point which Shehzad was making, that the CRPF was not deployed as the Central Election Commission did not take it up, the State Election Commission, sorry. Let me put it there. The CRPF was deployed where the BJP has put its nominations. The BJP has kept away from the Muslim-dominated areas. And if you see the violence in Bhangor, in Murshidabad, in Malda, these are the areas where the Muslims population is higher. And these were the areas where the opposition led by the Congress and the left front was stronger. And this is
Are you
where
suggesting that the central forces, the BSF and others were working at the
Let him finish his
instructions of the
point.
BJP?
Let him
No, is
finish
there
his
any
point.
basis
I want to
this
understand what
allegation?
he's saying. What is the point about Muslim-dominated areas, Rohan?
No, that's what I'm coming to.
Yeah.
The point was Murshidabad, Bhangor, where the maximum casualties have happened.
Yes.
Malda, these are the places where the Muslim population is higher.
So what
These
does
were
that
the places
mean?
Let me finish. Where the BJP has not filed any nomination.
What does that have to do with the security of those areas?
Wasn't there to protect the
But that's the
opposition
job
over
of the
there.
SEC. That's
May
the
I-
job
It was
of
the
the
job of the-
SEC.
it was the
Or to
job
deploy
of-
the central
May I
forces
just
where
have
they're
5
needed.
seconds?
What does the BJP have to do with
Why
that?
is it just the job of the SEC? It was a High Court mandate.
That's precisely the job of the SEC which has come under question. You and I
Minister,
can't decide
5
who should
seconds.
decide that. That's the protocol. Yes, Shahzad, very quickly, I have 30 seconds.
You know, when you call people who are fly-by-night operators, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary has also not said this. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary is on record to say that it was the local administration which has to provide the information to the central forces. The central forces don't know the lay of the land. They can only be guided by the SEC towards the sensitive
they knew the
booths.
local- they
And
knew the
therefore,
guide
Mr.
where the
Rohan,
BJP
I
was
know you
there.
must be
No, where the
pitching for
BJP
another
was
Rajya
there.
Let's not
Sabha from
fight over each other.
TMC, but at least articulate the position of the Congress if you are here to represent the
Let's
Congress.
not fight over each other. Yes,
He
Shahz-
is
No, the
he is
Congress is
articulating
very
the
clear
correct
what it
picture.
wants to do.
The correct picture.
Yes.
This is exactly what has happened.
Please
Trinamool
don't
in
speak
the
over
state
each
and they're
other.
fighting the
Please
BJP.
don't speak over each other. As it stands, the SEC was supposed to deploy the forces. That is clear. It was asked for by the High Court and the Supreme Court. And today the High Court has again asked the SEC if it did the job right. Yes, Mr. Dev, I'll give you 20 seconds. Please speak. Mr. Dev.
Central forces allowed BJP to carry on with this rampage. They allowed the opposition parties to carry on with this rampage. They could have easily stopped them.
Okay.
Why didn't they?
Let the
perform
High
their
Court decide. Ultimately, the courts will have to step in and they will have to decide because there are a lot of charges and counter charges. I've run out of time. I do thank all of our guests for joining us for our talk debate. Slipping into a very short break. On the other side, we'll get to the other big story that's creating quite a bit of row. 28% GST on online gaming. The industry has reacted sharply, calling it disastrous. Is this the right move? We'll get you more on the other side.
You're in